All right, welcome. Today, we're going to build something that's absolutely essential for life in the digital age, a toolkit. I'm going to give you 3 super powerful, practical tools that'll help you slice right through the noise online, spot arguments that are designed to mislead you, and get closer to the truth. So let's just dive right in.
You know the feeling, right? It happens every single day. You're just scrolling through your feed, and boom, a story pops up from some source you've never even heard of before. It looks legit, the headline is kinda shocking, and hey, a couple of your friends have already shared it. But is it real? Is it actually reliable? That's the exact problem we're gonna tackle right now.
So, first things first, we need to understand what we're actually up against. See, the biggest challenge online isn't always spotting the obviously fake websites. No, the real trap is the arguments that sound logical, but are actually built to trick you. They create this really convincing illusion of logic. I mean, just think about it for a second. We are bombarded with hundreds of these arguments a day, all fighting for our attention, trying to get us to agree. But a whole lot of them, even the ones that really feel right, are built on a shaky foundation of flawed reasoning.
The technical term for this is a logical fallacy. And really, you can just think of it as a hidden trap inside an argument. On the surface, it seems totally persuasive, but the second you poke it with a little bit of critical thinking, the whole thing just collapses. They are everywhere, and learning to spot them is your #1 line of defense. Okay, check this out, because this slide really nails the difference. The statement on the left is just wrong, right? You get a cold from a virus, not from being cold. But the one on the right, that is a logical fallacy. It's called a slippery slope. It takes one small step and then just leaps to this insane chain of horrible consequences with absolutely zero evidence. Okay, so now we know these traps exist. The big question is, how do we turn that knowledge into a skill we can actually use? Well, let's start building our toolkit. Time for tool number 1. Think of this first tool like a software update for your brain. It's your own personal fallacy detector that helps you scan arguments as they come in and flag the ones that are trying to pull a fast one on you. We're not going to get bogged down in a huge list. Let's just focus on 3 of the absolute most common fallacies out there. Seriously, once you learn to spot these, you will start seeing them everywhere, in comments, on the news, even in commercials.
First up is the ad hominem. It's Latin for to the person. And notice what's happening here. Instead of talking about Catherine's policies or her ideas, the argument just attacks her, where she grew up. It's a classic diversion tactic, and it's a giant red flag that the person making the argument probably can't win on the facts.
Next up is the straw man. Oh man, this one is sneaky and it is incredibly common. Erin probably said something totally reasonable like, hey, we should try to reduce our use of single-use plastics. But her opponent twists that into this extreme, ridiculous position that's super easy to attack. See? They're not arguing with Erin anymore, they're arguing with a fake straw version of her that they just invented. And we're back to the slippery slope. This one preys on our fear of the unknown. It argues that one small, perfectly reasonable action is going to magically lead to a total catastrophe, but it never offers any proof for how we get from A to Z. So the key here is to always ask, okay, where's the evidence that this chain reaction is actually going to happen? Okay, tool number 1 is in the bag. You've used your fallacy detector and the argument seems logical. So what's next? Now we investigate the source. Who is actually making this claim and can we trust them? Okay, listen up, because this might be the single most important skill you learn today. It's called lateral reading. Now, most of us, when we land on a website we don't know, we kind of click around on the site itself, maybe check the About Us page. The pros, they do the exact opposite. The moment they land on an unfamiliar site, they open a new tab and ask the rest of the internet, hey, who is this?
And this breaks it down perfectly. The process is dead simple. You see a source you don't recognize. You fight that urge to click around on their page. Instead, you open a new tab, you Google their name, and you look for what trusted sources, like Wikipedia, major news outlets, fact-checking sites, have to say about them.
And let's see this in action, because it's wild. On the left, a quick Google search for the Tennessean immediately pops up signs of credibility. You see a clear description, awards, even Pulitzer Prizes mentioned. But on the right, a search for Christian Times gives you, well, a mess. Confusion, wrong information, links to fact checks. In literally 30 seconds, you've learned more than you ever would have by staying on that original website.
All right, time for a pro tip to make your lateral reading even faster and more accurate. Our third tool is all about becoming a power searcher. This isn't just about finding stuff, it's about finding the right stuff.
quickly, and cutting through all the junk. And trust me, it is way easier than you think. You do not have to be a computer wizard for this. Just learning a couple of these little tricks, these search operators, can completely change your results. Putting something in quotes searches for that exact phrase. The cite operator is amazing. It lets you search inside one single website you already trust. And the little minus sign? Perfect for filtering out junk you don't want. These are your shortcuts to better information.
So we have our toolkit, the fallacy detector, the source investigator, and the power searcher. But here's the thing, and this is honestly the most important part of this whole explainer. These tools are completely useless if they just sit in the box. It's all about the mindset.
I love this quote. It's actually about companies trying to use artificial intelligence, but it applies perfectly to us right now. This guy, Matteo, he realized that just giving his employees powerful AI tools didn't actually change anything. The real challenge was getting them to change their habits, to change their culture, to actually use the tools.
And it is the exact same thing for us. Knowing what a logical fallacy is doesn't help if you don't use that knowledge. Knowing about lateral reading is useless if you don't make it a reflex. The real goal here is to build the habit of pausing, of questioning, and investigating before you hit believe or share.
So what does this mindset actually look like day to day? Well, it means choosing to be curious instead of just being certain. It means being extra skeptical of stories that seem to perfectly confirm everything you already believe. That's a huge trap called confirmation bias. Sometimes it just means being patient. When a massive story is breaking, just wait a day. Let the professional journalist do the hard work. And always, always come back to that one basic question. Who is telling me this, and why are they telling it to me? Because you see, at the end of the day, this isn't about being the smartest person in the comments section. It's not about dunking on people or winning arguments. It's about a personal quest to just understand the world a little bit more clearly. It's a quieter and, frankly, a much more rewarding goal.
And of course, a huge thank you to all the researchers and writers whose work made this explainer possible, including the amazing teams at Grammarly, Newcastle University, and all the academics out there studying these crucial skills.
So, I'll leave you with this one final thought. The internet has done its job. It delivered an endless ocean of information right to your screen. The next step? Well, that's up to you. Now that you have the tools, what are you going to do with them?